Alright, so War and Peace, Volume 3, Chapter 7. Alright, so from the previous chapter, you get the previous chapter, you get the letter from yeah, you get the letter from Nicholas. Nicholas talking about surviving 2 battles and being promoted to an officer. And so now that he's an officer and his family knows, his family has been notified of that and they're happy about it. And so they're all busy writing letters to him and giving him recommendations. And so and they're like preparing all the materials for him to be an officer, and all of his friends too. So all of his friends, and so and all of these items are being shipped to the army where Nicholas is staying at. And so when you get to chapter 6, chapter 7. That's correct. Sorry about that. Chapter 7, you have the situation where Nicholas is at the army and he has already received all of the received his officer's uniform and his officer's uniform and has already and has gone out to meet his friends. So his friends are Berg and Boris. So Berg and Boris. So yeah, Boris is like the commander that commander from Boris is also one of those. So these people, they both serve the military too. So it's like a friendly gathering. It's like a friendly gathering, and then Nicholas rides out to meet his friends. And so he just got out of battle, or at least he wants to make it like that. And so he has all of his uniform or clothes a little bit dirty and everything, and he wants to look as masculine as possible, even though he really isn't that kind of person at all. So he does it anyway. And so when he meets his friends, and he walks in and he congratulates his friend and congratulates his friends. They all hug each other, and they all hug each other like good old friends that haven't been met in a very very long time. Very long time. And so very long time. And so the three friends all welcome him back, and they all talk about what's happening around them, and that it's good to meet each other. And you have Berg. So Berg is like is one of Nicholas's friends and likes to talk about himself the most, and he likes to talk about stories, everything about himself basically. I'll be honest, I don't know really much about Berg that much, but he seems like a very prideful person. And Boris, 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 and so he decides to since Boris has the letter from his family, which he gives to Nicholas. He gives to Nicholas to read, but Nicholas reads the letter, and when he reads the letter, he doesn't read the letter. He's very happy. He's very happy and very happy, and then he's very happy about that, and he didn't know that very happy, and he didn't know that he was making everybody worried for him. So worried about him, and that worried about him, and then he then and then he also gets the money. He also gets the money, and there is one last thing that he gets, and that is a letter of recommendation to being a diplomat. And so this is one of those places where you're like one of the places like you're a diplomat, kind of like Prince Andrew or Prince Vasily. They all kind of pretty much diplomats. People that diplomats, like high-ranking people, and they also get a stable job, and they can do things much more efficiently and have probably a better life, and so better life, and so Boris, when he tells him that this letter of recommendation is really good, but obviously Nicholas doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be a diplomat. He thinks that diplomats are really annoying people, and doesn't want to be one. It will take away his freedom, and so he doesn't take the chance. And Boris is like, well, it's your loss. And so it's your loss. And so the three friends end up drinking wine together, and while they are having their own party, on their own party, Prince Prince Andrew ends up walking in on them. Andrew ends up walking in on them, and so remember Boris is like the commanding officer to Prince Andrew. So obviously Prince Andrew goes in probably to report to him. So Prince Andrew walks in, and he finds out that Prince Andrew walks in. All right. Yeah. Oh yeah. During the meeting, during the friends meeting, during the friends meeting, Nicholas starts talking about his achievements, and that he's been through 2 battles, and it's very awesome. Been through very awesome, and talks about the war, and and that he did get injured a little bit, but he survived. And so Boris wants to, and everybody else wants to know how he got his wound, and so Nicholas is a very honest person, so he wants to tell the truth, but since young people these days, they expect all the really cool and amazing stuff, and if Nicholas told what actually happens, then he would probably be put up for blame, or they just probably wouldn't believe him. So he tells the story what people expect a battle to be, and so and that's around the same time that Prince Andrew comes in. And then when Prince Andrew comes in, obviously he comes in, and when he sees Nicholas, when he sees Nicholas, when he sees Nicholas, sees Nicholas telling about his war stories. He doesn't really he doesn't really think that it's that great of a story to tell, and and doesn't really know or want to do anything to do with this Nicholas person, anything to do with this Nicholas person. And I guess, Prince Andrew is pretty friendly with Boris too. Pretty friendly with Boris. Pretty friendly to Boris, and he has no relation to Nicholas. So he just shrugs him off as some random person. Random person and so random person, and so Nicholas, obviously, he knows that this high ranking person is probably some sort of diplomat. He knows that these high ranking people aren't exactly his type, and so when Prince Andrew explains that he doesn't want anything, explains that these war stories are a lot exaggerated, a lot exaggerated, and exaggerated, and so exaggerated, and how to say, basically, Prince Andrew doesn't want to do anything with Nicholas, and Nicholas, who's telling stories, obviously knows that that high-ranking people are probably just some corrupt people that don't want to do anything. That's how Nicholas thinks of them, and other things of the people that are up top, and he doesn't like it, and so he gets really pissed off when Prince Andrew tries to say that that Nicholas shouldn't really talk this way, and that's not how battles really start, and so Nicholas really wants to be seen as this really masculine guy, but unfortunately, that probably doesn't really matter to Prince Andrew. And so Prince Andrew, and so Prince Andrew just says that a couple lines and saying that he agrees that not all of the he agrees with Nicholas that probably some of the high-ranking people probably do something like that. But he doesn't really want to get involved with Nicholas anymore, so he says his piece and then leaves. And so Nicholas is literally really pissed off, and he doesn't want to see Prince Andrew at all. He just doesn't like his face, doesn't like the job he does, but he thinks that maybe he could be friends with him. He would be friends with him, and so that's how chapter 7 ends. And so obviously the main thing is that Nicholas, who literally gets a recommendation to be a diplomat, he doesn't really want to be a diplomat. And diplomat, which is alright, because everybody has their own opinions on what they want to do, so that's probably a good thing. But it's still, if you got a recommendation, I'd say you should probably consider it because hey, it's a recommendation. And the fact is that Nicholas somehow wants to be friends with Prince Andrew after after being pissed off what Prince Andrew says. So I don't really know why at the end at the end Nicholas to decides to try and maybe want to befriend Prince Andrew. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's one thing that I don't really know. But but hey, I guess that's it. Well, yeah. Bye.